Hi Luke. So I can't say Luke, I am your father. So when I remember Luke, I only remember Luke Skywalker. So that is, I couldn't resist that Yoda bit over there.
Yeah, it's true.
And it covers, try not and do not and, do not try over there. So welcome to the 31st event of Indian Networker and the 49th episode of Jam with Sam. Thank you he's flying out today night to Hong Kong. And he said, I'll be there today. And he's saying, thank you so much for that, Luke. Okay, so let's start with your schooling. As a child, was being fit part of your regime? I mean, you're so fit now. Did it start from that childhood over there?
I think my dad was always into, encouraging us to have some amount of physical activity. It wasn't really enhanced fitness, but yeah, he would exploit us while we were growing up. Like, yeah, we lived abroad for most of our lives, but then when we moved back to India, we moved to Goa. And so we had this property, and to dig the pits for the coconut trees, like, he would give us 5 rupees to dig, like, we thought 5 rupees was great, but now I understand we were exploited as kids. But yeah, it kept us fit and healthy, and yeah, full thanks to him. I think he instigated just healthy eating and, activity in our lives.
Okay. And something about your schooling? Where did you study? And
so we studied abroad. I studied abroad for many years before moving down to India, and then like I said, we came straight back to Goa. I studied in Goa, and then I joined St. Xavier's College. I was having a lot of fun, and then my dad said, it's time to get serious. So my best friend's dad was the general manager of the Taj, and I used to spend weekends with him having free food, staying in rooms, and I said, okay, I want to be a general manager, so let me study hotel management. So
okay.
Absolutely no clue. So my dad paid quite a bit of money to get me into, IHM Goa, and on day one I realized I hated it. I hated every subject, and I said 3 years more. And I didn't have the heart to tell him I don't want to do this because he had paid money, and he would make a big deal about paying money for these things, and for all the right reasons to keep us disciplined. So I spoke to a couple of teachers, and then there was this little subject on food science and nutrition. And I said, okay, this looks simple. I took that up, and I fell in love with the subject. I fell in love with food, the science behind food, and the human body. And I still finished the 3 years. And the McDonald's that you see, they had this 6-month management trainee program, which I thought would be my ticket to the US. Like all management trainee programs, they promise you placements abroad. And I had a plan. I mean, once I got to New York, I would move into med school, or I would study nutrition. But it never happened. 6 months, and then I decided it's time to move out on my own. So that's when I moved out, and I started studying nutrition, I started studying anatomy, and I started studying disease at the same time. So that's about my...
So you worked also in IBM, and you worked in Mace and a couple of other brands over there?
Right, so these are all integrated health services.
Okay, okay.
These were companies that had integrated health services. Prudential was pure corporate, working, but I wanted to earn money while I was studying at the same time, so that's why I had a job and I was studying.
Okay, okay. So you have a lot of recommendations on LinkedIn with IBM. I was just reading them up. Have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. Yeah.
So you were an outstanding student, you were an outstanding employee at that time also?
I don't know. I mean, people endorse you. I think IBM was the changing part of my career. I was always scared to go into my field full time because, when you're used to a salary coming in, and then everyone was saying, go on and do your stuff yourself. But then we reached this point. It was an IBM when I decided I should break free because like all the top VPs and the CEOs and the managers, everyone at the mid-management level would look at their lives and say like, oh, we want to be them, we want to be them. And I would see them tired all the time. They would fly, come back, sleep on medication. So I asked a couple of questions to them, and they were like so unhealthy. So the first thing that came to my mind was like, okay, you have position, you have power, you have money, but you can't sleep at night. You can't even fit comfortably in your business class seat in an airplane. These are all genuine problems. You have deep vein thrombosis, you have sleeping pills. So I said, let me start fixing that at whatever level I could, which explains I got to integrated health services. IBM has one of the best health services across the world, company-wise. And then there was this one day where I just decided, let me just take the plunge. And I quit IBM, and ever since then, that's been the best decision of my life. Not that IBM was bad, but sometimes you're insecure, you have these fears which you just push aside. And it's unbelievable. I mean, it's been the best change in my life. Professionally, on all fronts, I think that was the best decision.
How did a journey start from becoming what you are today?
So I got into simple nutrition. I'm in a field called lifestyle and integrative medicine that exists in New York, but across the US, but it's come down to India. So what happens is we work with doctors. We work together on cancer patients. We work together on people with diabetes because we understand that, it's changed. It's not just a doctor. The doctor is an expert at X, Y, and Z. But today, most problems are lifestyle. Most diseases are lifestyle created. Most diseases start in the mind. They're stress related. So just a medicine or a chemical will bring you to a certain level of improvement. And I think we can all agree that medical treatment treats the symptom. And that's why I believe today we're living in a world where it's more disease management rather than disease resolution, which is why we constantly have disease. We don't see a downward trend in it. Symptoms get treated, but you still have the disease. You get a cancer, but it's metastatic after a few more months. It comes up in almost all cases. So that's the line I chose. I started off with nutrition. I started shuttling between New York and Mumbai, and because I work with research centers across the US as well. And it was nutrition, it was liver disease, diabetes, and then one day about 4.5 years ago, I had 2 4th-stage cancer patients who came to me with a week left to live. So I didn't know what I had to do with them. They just said, we want to enjoy the last 1 or 2 weeks, is what the doctor said. Go home, be happy, drink, be with your family. So I was going through their reports. They just wanted to be stronger and feel stronger because they wanted to travel. I looked at their reports and I found that their immunity was out of whack. Now, how do you check immunity? Your CBC, your blood work, your lymphocytes. You look at all of these things. And I looked at their treatments and their PET scans, and I found in the entire history there was no focus on their immunity. That was common sense. I knew nothing about chemo and radiation except at a level that we studied. So I said, I'm just going to fix the immunity if I can. Boost their immunity, because I believe if you boost your immunity, it takes care of everything else in your body. I did what I could with the knowledge I had, with the foods I had, the supplements I had, and the lifestyle changes I could make. Those 2 people still live today.
Wow.
Now, there's a miracle, there's God, but I believe that immunity is the most powerful thing. There's no doctor that cures cancer. There's no nutritionist or healer in this world that cures cancer. It's your own immunity that heals you. Everyone else taps into it, empowers it, tries to make it better. And I understood if immunity did that, it's time to start studying immunity. And that's what I started studying, immunotherapy, immunology, everything natural, not alternative. Alternative is part of it. So when people ask me today, should I do chemo or should I go alternative? Okay? I don't support only alternative, and I don't support only chemo. Sometimes you need chemo and sometimes you need alternative. And for people who are not willing to change their lifestyles and they're still smoking even when they have 3rd-stage lung cancer, yeah, you need the harshest treatment that's available out there. I'm not going to say nature's going to cure you now, because you're abusing the very thing that's created you. So I think my vision till date is, we're all products of nature. Our bodies are designed to heal itself. The problem is when we complicate it. The problem is when we bring in harsh treatments without managing the side effects of the whole treatment. There's nothing wrong with chemo and medications. I'm not against pharmaceuticals. I'm not against doctors. I'm against the way the process is used. I'm against the way antibiotics are dished out like candy, X-rays, CT scans, MRIs. They're just given one after another, okay, without telling the patient that these are the very things that actually cause progression in the disease. But okay, you need an X-ray, you need a CT scan, you need to see where the cancer is. But what should you do to balance the collateral damage of every medicine that you're taking today? Gone are the days where a doctor will tell you take an antibiotic and take a probiotic and take a B complex, because that's exactly what the antibiotic is going to wipe out from your system, your gut bacteria and your B vitamins, the very thing that supports your immunity. So you're creating more disease by using medication the wrong way. Likewise with chemo. If you just take chemo and radiation, you are going to die not because of the cancer, but because of the side effects. Organ failure, liver failure, brain stroke, primary tumors, metastatic cancers, kidney failure. I don't know a cancer patient who died because of the cancer alone. A very small percentage. It's always because of the side effects. So do we do chemo and radiation? The answer is yes if necessary, but you balance it by combating the side effects of every drug. So there's no magic in what I do. It's only if you're taking a harsher drug, I am working to detox your kidney, your liver, build up your immunity, so somewhere we can get your immunity to take over and put your cancer in remission and keep it there. or whatever it is. It's diabetes, it's a liver problem, it's a fatty liver, it's a weight problem. Obesity is not a problem. It's the symptom of chronic stress. The body reacts to chronic stress by producing a disease or by producing obesity. So that's basically the vision of what I do.
So most people call themselves as fitness coaches, dietitians. They just go for some course and get a certificate. But experience and right certification is very important, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I did stints at Harvard and Yale and a lot of institutes, but I mean, all respect to them, great content, but I could tell you I use 1% of maybe what I learned out there. Like I use anatomy and I use the understanding of the human body. The rest of it comes through experience because every body and every situation is different. So if you take one idea and try to treat a disease, you're going to treat it at only a symptomatic level. But when you understand that you can't take the mind out of the equation of healing, it becomes mind-body healing. It becomes mind-body treatment. You can give, it's the placebo thing. I can give a placebo to a patient and with authority and a white coat on, I can tell you your headache will go away. And just because I have a position of authority, okay, the headache goes away. It's a placebo, it's the mind believing that. And a lot of, placebos are used every day, even right now. It's all in the mind. So if a patient takes a pill without faith that it's not going to work, even though it's the best pill, it will not work. But if you give it to them with an understanding that whatever you're taking is going to work in your body, and the mind believes that it works better for you, there is a whole mind-body connection when it comes to the human body and healing.
So half knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, I think half knowledge and knowledge which is not organized and used the right way. There's loads of knowledge out, like she said. I mean, there are recipes, there's everything out there, but power and knowledge is when you organize it and use it in the correct way.
So your first book, how did you feel writing and releasing it?
I think I wouldn't really call my author. I get that title because I've written 2 books. It's always how can I get a message out to the masses. So whatever the medium is, I'll try to use it, whether it's a book, whether it's a TV show, a documentary. I think it's always been that way. So I try to get a message in and get the message out through a book. And I think that's been quite successful. It's a good feeling when you have people, reach out and say, I've used this line from your book and I've managed to change parts of my life. I think that's the most fulfilling thing of, writing a book.
So you use a lot of social media. What platform do you like and prefer personally?
I don't use social media. I have a team that does it for me. I don't have the patience or the time to even get into it, and I'm forced to tweet and forced to, put pictures up and all of that stuff. It's not my thing, but again, I mean, my social media company told me the same thing. If you want to get your message out, that's a great platform. So that's what motivated me to actually look into this a little more. So,
because your photographs are very less on Facebook. I didn't have much of choice to get that over there. Okay, so quick gun Sam, one witty answer. Red meat.
High protein.
I like that. Size 0.
Body image issue. Bad.
6 packs.
Overrated.
Narendra Modi.
Balanced. Only one word, right? So I don't have to say why, right? Okay, cool. Balanced. I'm going to keep it at that.
Okay.
Only because he promotes spirituality and yoga at work, which I think is necessary, and that politicians need. They need balance to make decisions.
Absolutely. What you eat today will cause cancer in rats tomorrow. We keep seeing continuous stories. Suddenly coffee is good for you. Next day they say coffee is bad for you. Chocolates is good for you. Chocolates is bad for you. What do we believe in? I mean, is it a press just releasing all this kind of stuff regularly? Like, my son will say, Papa, like the other day I read, if you're given sugar and you're given milk, take the sugar, don't take the milk. Milk is bad for the body. So, I mean, what do you believe in? What's right, what's wrong?
So I think a lot of it has to do with too much of information out there and the media as well. And then there's a food lobby which is as corrupt as the pharmaceutical lobby and as corrupt as the nutraceuticals too. I'm going to play it fair. Everyone's trying to drive something in a different way. So today it's about coffee, and we all know that coffee can be good and it can be bad. Everything in moderation. So now companies have come up where every coffee crop, the coffee crop is the most sprayed crop with pesticides in the world.
Oh.
The most sprayed crop. So now you get into organic coffee, but people don't like the taste of organic coffee. So then the food lobby will come up with something linked to the pharmaceuticals saying that 1 cup of coffee has a link to the prevention of breast cancer in women. Now there's a lot of truth in that. At the same time, if you have 2 cups, it can create a problem. So there's too much of information, and there's no point debating that. I would put all the energy into developing a strong immunity. So if I'm eating the wrong foods, my body's going to handle it, because all of us right now are breathing the wrong air. Mumbai air contains 16 to 18 carcinogens every single day. So yes, even if you're not a smoker, you are breathing in and inhaling a lot of carcinogens that smokers do. Doesn't mean you start smoking, you know, and it doesn't mean that you don't stop smoking. But the idea is, if you really try to sit and analyze the exercise that you do, how good is it for your body, the food that you eat, every ingredient, you're going to go crazy. You can't control many things. We can't control organic food in India. It's a scam. In most cases, it's a scam. There is no law. And how do you get the truth? You speak to the farmers. They said it's not possible that you can grow organic food. Ever since 1970, when politicians and the government passed urea to be used in soils, it doesn't get out of your soil for 50 to 75 years.
My God.
So unless you've got soil, or you're growing in vitro or a test tube and stuff like that, where the yield is extremely low, can sustain a family maybe, organic's a scam. The right word is low residual pesticide. So, you know, and organic shouldn't be expensive if you're using less, you know, herbicides and chemicals to grow it. So what do you control right now? It becomes insane. It stresses you out. And my biggest problem with health is stress. Stress causes the most problems. So if food is going to stress you more, my thing is put all your energy in having a strong immunity. That's the only thing that's going to protect you. That's the only thing that's going to heal you if you're sick. That's the only thing that's going to prevent you from getting a disease. So invest all that energy in immunity.
The great Indian diet. Tell us something about this and tell us the whole story.
So I'll make it very short. There's not much of a story about it. So Shilpa and I have been friends for years, and you know, we were on a flight back from New York, and she was going through some of my, you know, diet plans for cancer, and she was noticing that 98% of my, you know, American clients are eating 100% Indian food, right from spices to the grains to everything. And we got talking about how India is actually trying to ape the West and, you know, the other side, and we've got everything from the West coming, like olive oil and pastas. I'm not against these things, but, you know, like olive oil is the worst thing for Indian food, the worst thing. It is the most toxic oil that you can ever use for Indian food. It is the start of every disease that exists that has a connection to toxicity in the body. I mean, if you're cooking Mediterranean style or you're adding it raw to your vegetables, it's fantastic. But olive oil has the lowest heating temperature, which means its smoking point is low. Which means the moment you start heating it to cook Indian food, it starts producing toxins and free radicals. The very things that cause diabetes, cancer, fatty livers, you know, everything basically. So anyway, we've taken the wrong things from the West. So we got talking on the flight, and we just realized that we live in a country where we have all of this growing all around. So we decided, let's put it together and write a book. We didn't have a timeline, we didn't have publishers available. We just said we'll put chapter to chapter together. When we met, we discussed it. And one day we decided we have enough of content for a book. And that's exactly how we did it. Same message. The message is out to people that come back to your roots. Because every Indian spice and every food has a medicinal value. Has a medicinal value. I'm not going to say now if garlic can, you know, actually cause cancer cells to, you know, literally explode and die, it's going to cure cancer. It's not that way. So when you eat garlic the right way, with the right lifestyle, in the right quantities, with the right food combinations, it becomes medicine. It's wrong to say that turmeric alone is medicine. Turmeric alone becomes medicine if your system is able to absorb it. It's bioavailability of food. It's not what we eat. It's about how our body absorbs what we eat. So many people eat healthy today, but they have vitamin deficiencies. India and America are the highest consumers of calcium and vitamin D3. And we are the highest amount of people who have deficiencies in vitamin D and calcium. So the problem isn't there. The problem is not fixed by eating more foods and taking more supplements. It's about seeing why your body cannot absorb what you eat. And that's where the problem is. It's all about absorption and the way your body breaks down food. So that's the great Indian diet. It's doing pretty well right now. We've tried to keep the book as simple as possible. And I think we've had a lot of people change their lives, a lot of happy people who have gotten back to Indian food, their staple diet. The staple food you grew up on is what makes you happy. And that's what our basic diet should be. If you've grown up eating a Goan fish curry and rice, that is your staple diet. But shifting to a low-carb, high-protein diet is not going to fix your health problems. There is nothing wrong with the staple food you have. Because think, were you sick when you grew up? If you were sick, it wasn't caused because of the food you ate unless you grew up in the US and only ate junk food in India. So that wasn't the problem. Why is it the problem now? The problems are much, much larger than just diets.
So Vishal is going to be angry with this because he keeps telling me you should stop eating bacon. But I've been eating bacon since I was a kid over there. So, but I think as the body ages, the kind of food which your food intake also goes down over there, and you have to be a bit more careful eating the wrong things.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, none of us escape aging. And just to bring up the bacon thing, the quality of bacon at your time is far different from the bacon today. It's filled with more preservatives because the longer you can keep a product on the shelf, it's more profitable to food companies. So you have more sodium, you have more preservatives that make it taste better because the food lobby's got us addicted to two substances, salt and sugar. So any product, okay, which is made to addict you, and think of all your favorite comfort foods, right from chips to chocolates to whatever it is. The two main ingredients are salt and sugar. Once you get addicted, that's why you can't stop at one because the body and the brain starts craving more and more and more. You're not fighting. You never use willpower to fight cravings because willpower has a shelf life. It's literally an addiction. It's literally an addiction. It's your brain screaming out for more. And you can't control it. And you can't say, oh, my self-confidence has gone down because I failed in willpower. Because willpower is not the solution. You've got to break the addiction, that chemical addiction that's happened between the brain and the stomach.
Now coming to a very important topic, a topic close to many men's heart, which we spoke about, the last speaker spoke about, alcohol. So how good, how bad, people say, doctors say have one glass of red wine every day. It doesn't matter what the wine is, whether it's a 5,000 rupees wine or a 400 rupees or a Goa port wine. How good or how bad it is for a person.
See, I believe that people right from the beginning of civilization had alcohol in different ways in their diet. There is nothing wrong. The problem is with the way people use it. And the problem is overconsumption, addiction, and more, like I said, mind issues. Like my problem with alcohol is the way it makes men and women behave. I'm not saying drunk. People use alcohol to fill voids in their life. Okay, it's okay to combat stress, have your drink in the evening and stuff. But when you're using it to fill a void, like be it a relationship problem or a financial problem, then the void's only going to grow bigger and bigger because you're not filling it with the right filler. And then you start changing. I mean, alcohol has an effect on the brain, there's no doubt. People change the way they think. And, there was this whole Harvard study of why nightclubs, okay, have a darker environment when there's alcohol in it. Because it is believed that men drop their guards and they feel more confident when the lights are low and they have a drink in their hand. But you put the same woman in front of them in a bright area and a glass of alcohol, they won't be able to hold a conversation. So there's this whole study of how it's become a psychosomatic experience for people, and that's what I have a problem with. There's nothing wrong with alcohol, absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with marijuana. I use a license in the US to prescribe cannabis oil for cancer, depression, and it works like magic. So if I'm going to say something bad about alcohol, I should say something bad about, marijuana and the term that they give it on drugs and stuff like that. But it's nature, it's barley, it's wheat, like she said. The problem I have is with low quality alcohol. The problem I have with food is low quality food. You want to eat chocolate? Eat high quality chocolate. Don't eat low quality chocolate, which is filled with emulsifiers and high corn fructose. Eat Swiss chocolate. Swiss eat 8 to 10 pieces of chocolate a day. Why aren't they fat? Because they don't eat it with guilt. They enjoy it. It's part of their staple upbringing. They break it down. Look at the French. What do the French eat? What do the French drink? Butter. And they don't exercise and they smoke. They're happy when they eat. It's a mind-body connection. You can eat an ice cream, okay? It'll make you fat depending on the way you eat it. You start eating it, oh, I'm going to become fat. I shouldn't be doing this. There's guilt. Guilt raises one hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Cortisol tells your body to store fat because it lowers everything else, your thyroxine and everything else. It's all about hormones and chemical equations. But you enjoy the ice cream, your body will break it down. Your mind sees it as an ice cream, your body doesn't. It will still digest, produce enzymes and everything else it needs to do on a biochemical, equation. So again, the mind, we make food an enemy today. We made an enemy. And when people say fight cancer, I don't say fight cancer or disease. Understand it and heal with it. Because when you're fighting, there's war. There's a winner or there's a loser. And in most cases, humans are the loser when you try to fight anything that's out of your control, including food. So, yeah, that's how it is.
Some people say 3 meals a day. Some people say 5 meals a day. Some people say eat every 2 hours. Which is right?
See, it's really each person and each situation is different. The idea is every 3.5 to 4 hours, your body is expecting a meal. So now if your day is planned in such a way, you can have a breakfast, lunch, evening snack, and a dinner. If you're in the US or Europe where people eat their dinner at 6 o'clock and 6:45, which is a fantastic habit, you can just have 3 meals in a day. But if it's Mumbai life where you have an early breakfast and then a late lunch and a very late dinner, you need snacks in between. Otherwise, you're going to be acidic, you're going to have acidity, and you're going to have all those issues which are the most prevalent issues. So it's really dependent on your life. There is no rule that if you eat 6 mini meals in a day, you're going to have a lean body. Absolutely not. It's common sense. You listen to your body and you give it what it needs according to your job. If you have a sedentary desk job, do you really think you need 6 meals in a day? Absolutely not. So every person, every situation is different. So that's how it works.
You're one of the pillars of Goki. And how do you manage your team of how many coaches do you have in Goki?
We have about 500.
500. So how do you manage this?
So it's very simple. I mean, when I formulated the whole coaching methodology of Goki, I had my ideology in places, which is exactly, I think, what you've understood right now. It's mind, body. It's not about telling people count calories, diet. We don't do diets. We don't even give diet plans. It's first getting someone to trust you. Okay, when you get in more information from someone and I get to a root cause, I can solve the problem. At least I can be on the right road to solve the problem. If I don't know the root cause, okay, then there's a drug and there's a chemical to help you. So all my coaches are trained to, break the ice with people, get their trust, get them to speak. Then we have data. When we have data, we can link it to what needs to change in your life. So we don't just tell you go and exercise. If you haven't slept well, we'll actually ask you not to exercise. Because with less sleep and exercise, you're putting more stress on your body. More cortisol, you understand thyroxine, testosterone, DHEA, all goes out of whack. And what are the problems we have in India? Thyroid, because of low thyroxine. We have immunity problems, which is low DHEA. And we have everything that stems from stress because of high cortisol. So if you look at statistics in the market and you relate it back to disease, you always find that connection. So managing my coaches, it's really simple. We train regularly, we work on cases together. It's a very informal environment. We look at people's data and we get into people's lives. That's what we do.
Coming to exercise, a lot of people get, like they said, going to a treadmill. So you say already running the treadmill throughout the day in your office. I'm not going to go and do the treadmill again over there. So what are the is it better to have some hobbies like maybe squash or tennis and keep wearing it every day because your interest level goes down, doing that same becomes like a job.
Right.
It should be more enjoyable. So what do you have to say about that?
I think everyone should do what they like. Just because everyone goes to a gym and we think a gym gives you a good body, it's totally wrong. If you're doing an exercise that you don't enjoy, like the build, it won't work for you. So even if you like walking will work for you. But it has to be done the right way, consistently. You can't walk once and twice in like 2 weeks and expect it to give you that benefit. If you like yoga, it could be your way of exercise, but then again, you customize it. So like if you have a knee problem, I wouldn't recommend running until you fix your knee problem. Because you're going to put more and more damage, and you think 10 to 15 years down the line, not just between now and the next Facebook picture or selfie you get at the end of a marathon or something like that. So when it comes to exercise, you select what you do, and less is more. When it comes to exercise, less is always more. It's never a 1 hour workout, it's never 45 minutes. What you see Bollywood and Hollywood doing 2 hours in the gym is because they take sports nutrition that sustains a workout for so long. And they have enough of recovery and they have enough of supplements to help you recover quicker. So if you try to apply a Bollywood or a Hollywood training or an elite athlete training program to your layman life, you're actually going to get injured, you're actually going to get sicker. So it's got to be in par with what you do, and media again creates that picture. Marathon running. Marathon is an elite sport. So you've got to train like an elite athlete, which means you sleep, you eat, and you train like an athlete. But everyone will wake up a few months before the marathon, start running, their sleep's out of place, everything gets out of whack. So that's why we have more disease, and ever since the marathon culture hit Bombay, we have more physiotherapy. Units sprouting up all over the country and stuff like that. So less is more, and do what you like doing. Exercise is anything that gets your heart rate up. If you like it, do it, it'll work for you. Yeah.
Okay, coming to the last thing is supplements. There are stores and stores, like I live in Lokhandwala, there are stores and stores selling this, this protein shake and this supplement and this and this and that. I mean, how good or how bad are those supplements? And which is like a good brand to use, because I've heard of people even taking out the expiry date and putting some, expiry date, further expiry date on it, so they manage to sell it. So they're playing actually with your life. You're going to have some expired stuff.
Right.
you don't know what's going to end up. So what is your take on?
So I think supplements taken the right way, like medication, is extremely important. Because the wrong supplements taken, and they can really help. Like in cancer, when we're trying to heal and save the liver and the kidney, we can only use supplements besides food. Because why we can't use only food is because the intestines are so destroyed with chemo and radiation that it can't absorb food anymore. So sometimes the best way you can get it in is through a supplement. So now you have supplements. Let me give you an example of turmeric, because that's something, it's curcumin, which we use in cancer treatment worldwide. Now, a lot of America sells it as turmeric in capsules, okay? Now, that's not going to do any of the work, because turmeric, curcumin, is the extract of the turmeric root, and it can only be absorbed in your body in the presence of black pepper, piperine. So, supplements is about formulations. You can't just take something like, oh, curcumin, joint pain, let me pop these turmeric pills and I'll be fine. You can actually damage your system. You have to have a formulation. So black pepper helps the nutrition from curcumin to get absorbed into your body. It's all about bioavailability. So when you have formulations and supplements made the right way, and it's given under guidance, like people pop BioCoQ10 the moment they have a heart problem. That can create more damage if it's not done the right way. So like pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals is also a worrisome market unless there's a method to the entire madness. And yeah, you have spurious products all the time, products with heavy metals. So you really need to know what you're going to take to, like even calcium. I mean, a lot of India has people with thyroid problems, and they still take calcium. When you're on thyroid medication, the first thing you need to cut down is calcium, because you're actually going to create kidney stones or gallbladder stones, because calcium absorption stops when you have a thyroid issue, when you have a hypothyroid complication. So the human body is an intelligent system, and you have to treat it intelligently, even with nature, even with food combinations and spice combinations. So it's a great market. We use like more than 15 to 20 supplements that can actually change the immunity of a sick person, but it has to be done the right way.
So there's a person right now in the news who has lost a lot of weight. So somebody said that he walked 21 kilometers per day. He was huge, and then he's come out. He's a scion of a very large, I don't want to name him over here. So has he done it naturally, or do you think he's gone in for some sort of a...
See, scientifically, it's not possible in that time frame. Okay, but if he did it great. Hats off to him. He had age on his side, metabolism and all of that stuff. And sometimes people do incredible things when they get their mind to it. On the other side, there's money that can fix any body. You can make your body look different today. You can have a new identity tomorrow. You can change all of that side. So there's two sides of the story, but I mean, full credit and respect if it's done the natural way. And sometimes surgery is required because obesity is a very emotional thing. And sometimes, like in the US, I'll tell you the difference between surgeries for obesity. They need to visit a nutritionist 6 times and try to lose weight naturally. So I sign off 6 times. And if nothing's worked, then do I give my go-ahead that you can go for surgery. So if the guy's not followed a diet or an exercise regime, there's no way he's getting it the simple way. That's the law, and that's what we need over here. But over here, you don't even want to go through that, which is why there are a lot of complications of these surgeries. Massive complications of these surgeries, basically. That goes for cosmetic surgery as well, because Bombay is one of the highest users of cosmetic surgery right now. And we also have the highest amount of depression. The two are connected. You can't keep changing your body all the time. So yeah, you may change your boobs, your nose, your butt, and you get, that whole body image for the next 2-3 years. But I said you can't escape age. And then something else comes up. You can't do another surgery all your life. So what sets in? Depression. Mind, body again. So
what are you going to do next? I mean, you've done so much. What's next?
I think I want to continue with what I'm doing. I want to be very focused in, understanding immunity and understanding the human mind. Because I think a lot of people can be cured and healed, but the mind comes and play like I said, I mean, I don't understand the logic behind a 4th stage lung cancer patient still smoking. I don't understand that. But that person has a problem. It's a problem, it's an emotional issue. So I need to tie in more of emotional healing with physical healing, and I know we can combat disease. I know we can prevent it, I know we can manage it better. Like, a lot of breast cancer in the US is caused because of the genetically modified foods over the last few years, drug abuse, alcohol, and stress. You'll be surprised at the highest statistic, the cause of breast cancer in India, in women, is emotional internalization. Even urban India, women feel that they cannot express themselves, they have in-laws problems, family problems, they're not allowed to be who they want, even in urban India. Even I'm talking about girls who go and study abroad in Yale, Harvard, all over the US, have international exposure and come back here to get married. They have problems. Emotional internalization. How do you feel when you're stressed? You feel low. What do you think is happening to your immunity? It gets low. What happens when you have low immunity? You can get anything from a cancer to any disease because your immunity can't protect your body anymore. So we have a long, long way to go. And I think more than just focusing on healing patients, it's more about awareness. Because when people get the message, okay, and that some one line clicks in their mind, they find the motivation to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where the healing starts. So I see myself, creating awareness, creating inspiration in people, and continuing to treat people and work with people in the same dimension that I'm doing today right now.
Word of advice to all the young and old entrepreneurs here.
I think just invest in your immunity. I think most of my client profiles are the top, they're all on Forbes lists worldwide, and they tell me one thing. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have your health. They have like insane amounts of money, but they can't sleep at night, their knees don't work, they can't travel to enjoy their money, and I've seen it. That's coming straight out from some of the richest people in the world right here. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Invest in your immunity, and the thing is, it's a little bit that you do every single day. Like the alcohol that you're going to enjoy right now, probably after this session, how can you make it better? It's not about removing things. I always say add value. You want to eat a junk meal? Eat it. Mindfully, enjoy it. But what can you add? What's that one thing you can add to that junk meal to make it better? So you're giving your cells that are screaming for good nutrition, but only getting bad nutrition. So I'm going to have a pizza, I'm going to put an extra topping of vegetables on. That's a good thing. Or I'll have a bowl of soup at the side. Or a juice. That's a good thing. But I'm still having the pizza, and I'm still giving my body what it needs. So a glass of alcohol, between every glass of alcohol, if you can have a glass of water, because alcohol dehydrates. What does water do? It helps your liver break down sugar and alcohol. The very thing that causes, and makes alcohol bad for your health. So again, enjoy your drink, but what value can you add to it? If you add a dash of lemon to that water, guess what? It's even better. Because now you're helping the body be alkaline. Whereas alcohol makes your body
acidic.
So you see, you're helping your body, manage what you're doing to it in a better way. And that's all we need to do. Add value instead of taking things away and being more depressed and then having cravings and getting onto a binge drinking night. Do everything in moderation, and for the young people, let's think 10 years down the line. We have technology to heal us today, but the quality of life. Doesn't mean you see someone in a fancy wheelchair that's all electronic and driving around that they're having a good day. You don't know what's going on in their heart and in their mind. So think the next 10 to 15 years, every decision counts. Sugar is a problem. It's a big problem. People teach their kids to be away from drugs. Teach your kids to be away from sugar because sugar is creating more problems. Really, how many kids become crack or heroin addicts? Really, how many? Many. Most of the kids today in Mumbai will smoke a joint or a couple of joints, or they'll go around to Goa and do a little bit of LSD and stuff like that. Controllable. The bigger problem is sugar. Because you cannot reverse what sugar does to your cells if it's done in overconsumption. So the fine line is, really knowing what's good in your body, add value, add value, add value. That's my only advice. Enjoy your life, keep stress at the minimum. Because stress is what causes almost every disease. So that's about it.
Fantastic look. Thank you. So you can have a sugar-free coffee or a sugar-free health shake over there.
Thank you.